What's going on, everybody? It's the Scene Snob here, back again with another episode of the 20-Minute Wrestling Podcast. And I am joined today by none other than my stepson, who is celebrating a birthday this week. So I'm having him on the show because he's a huge wrestling fan. Tommy. What's going on, Tommy? How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing real good. Hi, everyone. Make sure you smash that like button and subscribe to the Scene Snobs.
I love it. I love this kid. I love him for many reasons, but I love that he knows how to say that. So, Tommy, it was a huge week in wrestling.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know this. Are you prepared for the results of Revolution, which I know you didn't watch last night?
No, I'm not.
You're not prepared?
I feel like Moxley has a chance at winning.
See, the thing I love about this is it's like, I know all of the results. I know who won everything, right?
Yeah.
But you don't. So anybody who's listening to this or watching this is probably going to say, oh, this is exciting. Like, how is he going to react? Because I'm giving you the information. So, but before we get on AEW, because I want to touch down on WWE first. I'm going to go through the week, and I want to know your thoughts on it. But before that, I hope you guys know, this is John Carpenter Appreciation Week on the Scene Snobs. So we are excited. We have a lot of stuff going on. Each show is going to be themed with one of Carpenter's movies, or more than one of Carpenter's movies, all leading up to our new show, our new podcast coming out with my co-host Rob Gosher, starting this Saturday. It is going to be the Behind the Box, the Video Store Degenerates. It's a cult classics podcast where we talk about all our favorite movies that we found, primarily horror, but we're going to go with action. We're going to go with science fiction, or the whole nine, the stuff that we found behind the boxes of, over in the horror section, things like that. So, really just kind of going deep and dirty with the cult classics. So make sure you check that out when it comes out. Stay tuned. Go to scenesnobs.com for that. But we're here for wrestling right now. And we're going to get to the John Carpenter portion of this later. I want to go and I want to cover everything else. Tommy's here. We're going to have a good time. I'm going to kind of go through the news and see what he thinks. But we also want to know what you guys think. So like he said, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and follow us and listen to us. And let us know what you guys think in the comments below. All right, so we'll start with Raw. Some highlights that I really enjoyed about Raw. So with Randy Orton, he tore up Edge. He did a concerto to Edge, and took him out of commission. So then the following week, Matt Hardy came back, and he stuck up for Edge, and then he wound up getting a concerto. And then the week after that, it was promised that Matt Hardy and Randy Orton were going to have a no-holds-barred fight, and they didn't. And then he got concertoed again on the steel steps. Leading up to this week, there's no Matt Hardy, there's no Edge. It's just Randy Orton coming out, and who comes to meet him but KO himself, Kevin Owens, your favorite. You can say it.
He's not my favorite. Randy Orton actually is my favorite.
I know, buddy. I'm just kidding with you. You love that RKO.
Yeah.
So we had a couple of different things. Some highlights from here. It was really, for me, the Randy Orton and KO fight, which happened at the end. Now, I don't know if you know what's going on with Seth Rollins right now. He's the Monday Night Messiah. You remember he teamed up with AOP and Buddy Murphy?
Yeah.
So he's kind of leading this cause, and he's kind of like got this like cult following happening where people are just like kind of latching on to him like he's a religious leader of wrestling. And what do you think about all that?
I don't think he's a religious leader of wrestling.
It's more of an analogy, though.
Yeah, but I do feel like he and Buddy Murphy deserve to have the titles.
Really?
But I don't think that
they
should be like, I don't think they should have, like, I think AOP would be, I think that at Superstar Shakeup, maybe AOP could be like switched around on a different brand. And
Whoa, buddy! I love it. And when we get to Superstar Shakeup, I'll have you on. But that's far off. We're still getting to WrestleMania. Right now, I'm enjoying the Monday Night Messiah. Him getting all these followers coming on. And what happened in the Randy Orton KO fight is the ref wouldn't count for KO. And then they ripped his shirt open, and he was wearing a Monday Night Messiah shirt. So that means that ref was a part of the Monday Night Messiah's following. So now we've got a bigger thing. It's a wide growing following happening. And it's very interesting what they're doing with Rollins. And KO is involved as far as you can go.
I feel like since they didn't count for KO, I feel like Seth Rollins and Randy Orton are making like a behind the scenes trying to get Orton on Seth Rollins' stable just in case Buddy Murphy gets injured or something. Then Randy Orton could come in and be his partner.
I mean, anything's possible, and I love the imagination, but we're not really sure. And until that happens, right now Randy Orton's got a pretty cool thing going. I think he's going to have an Edge match with Edge at WrestleMania, and that's what it's building up to. So we have, where else do we go with this? I have a ton of stuff I want to talk about. I want to cover WWE, like I said. NXT was kind of boring. Not too much went on there. Ciampa won. So I know you're happy. You loved him, us, Ciampa.
He's the new NXT.
No, he just won his match that night.
Oh, who'd he face?
What's his name?
Roderick.
No, it wasn't Roderick. It was Theory, Austin Theory.
Ah.
So we have another big show, because I can't talk about SmackDown yet without talking about Superstar Showdown.
Superstar Showdown?
I know you were at school that day, so you kind of missed
Super
it.
Showdown?
Yeah, Super Showdown, sorry. So we had the gauntlet match, which was a 6-man gauntlet to see who's going to win this giant trophy that they had there. It started out with R-Truth and Bobby Lashley. R-Truth kind of comically won against Bobby Lashley, beat him, then got beat up by Bobby Lashley real bad, only to have Andrade come out and then beat up R-Truth real bad, and then R-Truth comically win against him and pin him. And then we had Eric Rowan come out and then get DQ'd because R-Truth accidentally knocked over his animal cage, and so Rowan hit him with the stairs and got DQ'd from the match. So then we had, so there it is in a gauntlet match. R-Truth lasts 3 people. Then AJ Styles comes out. What do you think happened? Just who do you think won that match?
I don't know who the 6th entrant is,
What?
but by the AJ Styles and R-Truth, I just have a feeling that R-Truth comically won 3 of them, but AJ Styles, I feel like AJ Styles could pin him.
I love it. You got it. You pegged it right. So AJ Styles beats him real fast, right? So after AJ Styles wins, the 6th man that was supposed to be in was Rey Mysterio. We cut to the back. Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows are beating up Rey Mysterio, so he can't come in. So the ref decides to count. If he counts to 10 and the 6th man doesn't come in, AJ Styles wins. But then they cut back to it during the count. And there's Gallows and Anderson laying on the floor in pain. And who steps out? But The Undertaker.
Oh my gosh. How?
Yeah.
Oh my
So he
god,
comes
that's
out.
a big return.
That is a big return. But Undertaker comes out, lays out AJ Styles, pins him, wins the trophy. So he won the gauntlet match. And then we have coming back was... so he's coming back, and it looks like they're going to set them up for WrestleMania.
I really don't think until after WrestleMania. So I feel like Styles versus Undertaker at WrestleMania. Then he's not gonna have a match until Vince McMahon can decide: is he gonna be free agent? Is he gonna be Raw? Is he gonna be SmackDown?
Well, Taker's part time. He comes back for WrestleMania or the Saudi Arabia matches. He's not coming back for anything else. He's too old. He should retire, but I mean, it's still exciting to see him. This is his 30th WrestleMania coming up. Yeah.
So he's been, has he been at for
He hasn't been there for all of them.
No, I mean, has he been there for the last 30 years, 29 years?
Yeah. He's wrestled in every WrestleMania since 1990.
So that means he's wrestled WrestleMania 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
Okay, calm down.
All the way up to 33. Going on 34.
No, this is 36. Yeah, your numbers are off, but I'll show you. Don't worry.
I thought it was
We'll go back.
WrestleMania 34.
Yeah, back up a little bit. You're getting a little too hot on the mic. They can hear you. Don't worry. No big deal. I didn't want you to get too hot on it. Okay, so your boy Ricochet was fighting Brock Lesnar at Super Showdown. And what do you think happened? And just say it real quick. Who do you think won?
Brock,
of course. So they do this entire video package that builds up Ricochet, that he's going to win, that he's determined, that he has right on his side, and he goes in there and he loses in 90 seconds. Brock demolished him. It was actually kind of sadder than his match against Kofi Kingston, because at least Kofi was the champion beforehand. Back up a little bit, buddy. At least Kofi was the champion beforehand. Ricochet was nothing and got demolished by Brock Lesnar. Put down and counted out and pinfall. So then we get Miz and Morrison fighting the New Day for the belts, for the SmackDown Tag Team titles. So we have them fight. Miz and Morrison win. They become tag team champs.
Yeah.
Now so I'm covering that now, but I want to finish it on SmackDown because that's where the story picks up after. Goldberg versus the Fiend Bray Wyatt. Just real quick, who do you think won?
Goldberg.
Yeah, Goldberg did win. Goldberg is the Universal Champion. The Fiend Bray Wyatt lost the belt to him. So then we go on to the next day with SmackDown. We have Goldberg come out, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Goldberg pops out and he goes, "Who's next? Who's next? Who's next?" Blah, 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 blah. Who do you think came out to challenge him for WrestleMania?
Roman or the Fiend?
It was Roman. You're right. That was a good guess for the first one. Roman Reigns. So back up a little. Sit back. So he comes out. Roman comes out, says, "I'm next," and then that's how it ends. So first contender for first place contender for the belt. I mean, null and void. Nobody really cares. I guess you can just walk out and say you're next. And then at the end of the show, we have John Cena come out, give an impassioned plea to everybody, saying how he doesn't think it's fair as a part-timer to come out and be in WrestleMania and take the spot away from somebody who's there day in and day out. He loves the WWE Universe. It's a very passionate speech. We love it. It's a John Cena thing to do. And he walks away. Everybody respects him because he walks away. He's saluting, and then the lights go out. And lights pop back on, and there's the Fiend standing behind him, pointing at the WrestleMania sign. And then we get a tip of the hat from John Cena, so it looks like it's going to be John Cena and the Fiend at WrestleMania. So that's going to be an exciting one. So I mean, I'm glad that they took the belt off of Bray, because it was the title run for him just wasn't working, and he's more of a character, kind of like what the Undertaker was. He's more of a character that should lurk through the shadows and then just decimate people, I think, personally. So that was WWE pretty much in a nutshell this week. So now we go on to Dynamite. Wednesday Night Dynamite from AEW. It was a go-home episode before Revolution. We had a 30-minute Iron Man match versus Omega and Pac.
Guess who won?
Oh, Omega. Omega took it.
Under
in overtime.
sudden death rules.
Yes, it
I
was.
really didn't think that Omega could win after that table smash from Pac.
Are you kicking the table?
No.
Oh.
So I was really surprised.
Yeah, I was too. But I was glad Omega won. And so then and that ended that feud between Pac and Omega, which was nice. because then right after that we get Orange Cassidy and Pac building a feud for Revolution. He came out. Orange Cassidy came out, challenged Pac. Pac threw him down. Stop kicking the table. So then they go and they he goes off, and then the next match is the Butcher, the Blade, and the Bunny versus Best Friends with Orange Cassidy. Of course, Bunny is just there in the corner, and so is Orange Cassidy. But we get their feud kind of going on. Best Friends win. They announce that they're going to do an Orange Cassidy versus Pac match at Revolution. And that Orange Cassidy is actually going to try. So it's pretty exciting stuff.
The first match with the first solo match of Orange Cassidy.
Yes, that was the first solo match with Orange Cassidy, and I'll get into that in a second when I do the breakdown. But so then at the end of the show, we had a lot more stuff. But at the end of the show, we had Chris Jericho versus Jon Moxley in a weigh-in. So they weighed themselves for the fight. Moxley hits Jericho with a really bad headbutt, which splits him open, and blood is everywhere. Brawl breaks out. It's chaos all over the place. Just completely wonderful. So
why is it called a weigh-in if they don't go on scales?
They did go on scales. They did weigh in.
Oh, what was
He got, and Moxley caught a DDT from Jericho onto the scale. So it was pretty cool.
How much did Moxley weigh?
I don't remember. 240, I think. But so now we're getting to the best, hands down pay-per-view of the month, of the year. I'm sorry, so far, and that even includes Wrestle Kingdom. So I just think they completely blew it out of the water with Revolution. They have taken weeks and weeks, if not months, to set up these feuds and rivalries going on, and they all were just perfect. So we had the Dark Order versus SCU, and I'm just going to kind of go through fast. We had Dark Order versus SCU for the first match during the pre-show. Dark Order defeated SCU, but Christopher Daniels, who was asked to stay in the back, came out. Colt Cabana came out, so that was a surprise for the Chicago crowd. He's an old wrestler from the indie circuit. Christopher Daniels came out pretending to be the Exalted One. And it turns out, of course, he's not the Exalted One. And
what's the Exalted One?
That's Dark Order's, who they're like praying to, who it's heavily rumored right now it might be Matt Hardy. So because his contract is up in WWE. But we'll see. So then we had Jake Hager versus Dustin Rhodes.
Dustin probably won.
First match for Jake Hager in the ring. It's a very cool match. They did some really cool stuff. They even incorporated Hager's real life wife in the match, who was sitting on the sidelines. Jake Hager defeated Dustin Rhodes via submission. So that was one win for the Inner Circle. Then the match was Darby Allin versus Sammy Guevara. Sammy Guevara and Darby Allin were great in this match. They were high-flying. They were perfect. The bell didn't ring for like 7 to 8 minutes. They were just beating the crap out of each other on the sides. And then finally the bell rang, and it went another 5 minutes. So technically the match was only 5 minutes long. But it was really about 13 minutes long.
Who won?
Darby Allin defeated Sammy Guevara via pinfall. Then we had one of the best tag team matches I've ever seen. And that was for the titles. That was Adam Hangman Page and Kenny Omega versus the Young Bucks. And man, they've been building this rivalry for so long, with Adam Page being real cold and being real terrible to the Young Bucks, and not trusting Kenny Omega, and the whole nine. So it was really interesting. The whole match went great. They played it off perfectly. Great moves inside and outside of the ring. Just really one of the best feuds to have been going on for weeks. Only to culminate in all of this. And Adam Hangman Page and Kenny Omega won in the end. And the thing I love about it is Page walks out while Omega is congratulating the Bucks and saying good match. And he walks out and he turns around. He puts his hands on the top of the top rope. And just for a second, you see his hand shake a little bit like he's going to do a buckshot against Kenny Omega. But Kenny Omega turns around and goes, "What are you doing?" He goes, "Oh, come on, I'm holding the ring for you. Come on, come on." So something's going to be set up there, and it's going to be beautiful. So they're still letting this whole feud marinate, and I love it.
What happened after?
Well, that's it. That's what happened after. Then they walked out. So AEW Women's Championship. Nyla Rose defeated Chris Statlander via pinfall, and she retained the title. It was a good match, but I think it was overshined by the fact that there's so many good matches in this surrounding it. And then right after, we had the MJF Cody match.
Cody probably won.
No, MJF defeated Cody via pinfall, and it was accidental. He hit him with the ring, the dynamite ring, the dynamite diamond ring. He hit Cody with it, knocked him out, and because he was so beaten, he fell on top of Cody and pinned him. It was a cool match. Everybody was involved. It was really cool. So then we got, so it's still going to be ongoing because he was a dirty win. Pac versus Orange Cassidy.
Orange Cassidy had to.
This is one of the best matches of the night. They were amazing. When Orange Cassidy slipped past the character and started trying, it was beautiful. And he can wrestle like crazy. But unfortunately, Pac defeated Orange Cassidy via submission.
What?
He put Cassidy to sleep.
Really?
Oh, yeah. And then you had the main event of the night, AEW Championship, John Moxley versus Chris Jericho, the champion. The champion for like almost 200 days. The inaugural champion, the first champion, Chris Le Champion Jericho.
Le Champion.
Le Champion, that's right. Who do you think won? I'm going to give you a guess.
Moxley.
Moxley won.
Oh my god.
Yep. Moxley took it. Moxley is now the AEW Heavyweight World Champion. And it was a bloody and disturbing match. But at the end, he raised, towards the end, he pulled up the eye patch, took it off, and his eye was fine. And he paradigm shifted Jericho. He lifted him in the air and paradigm shifted him. And then took the belt.
Oh my god.
So he is now our champion.
I bet you that there's gonna be a big feud like Darby Allin, Moxley, Dustin, and Cody.
I love that you said that.
Are all gonna form like their own like anti-inner circle.
I love that, but here's why. So do you remember War Games?
Yeah.
Well, War Games is a very old match. WWE owns the rights to the name and stuff now. But back in the day, Dusty Rhodes, Cody's dad, started War Games. And it was a completely covered cage, top, bottom, all around. And the point was you couldn't get out until the match was over. And you would just have 4 guys on this team, 4 guys on this team, and they would go to war. It would bloody. Anything goes. It just, you had to take them out, right? And now War Games NXT was great this year. Remember, we love both of them, the men's and the women's. But they're doing it this year. They're not calling it War Games because they can't, because WWE owns it. But they're doing something called Blood and Guts. And it's going to be on a Dynamite episode. And it's going to be a War Games type match. We don't know who's in it yet, but I'm feeling it's going to probably be who you mentioned and versus the Inner Circle.
But the question is, which Inner Circle member is going to sit out?
Well, I don't know if they're going to do 4 and 4. They might do more. I don't know anything else than they just showed it to us.
No, if it is 4 on 4, we should try and think which Inner Circle member is going to sit out. Is it going to be Jake Hager? Is it going to be Sammy Guevara?
Well, we don't know. Again, they could change it. It could be 6 on 6. It could be whatever it is. So we'll see as it gets closer and closer. And I know you're excited.
I just thought of something that would be...
All right. Tell me that, and then we got to move on. Go ahead.
Sammy Guevara could sit out, and Darby Allin versus Sammy Guevara.
Yeah.
And Darby Allin would go in 2 matches, both of them with the skateboard.
I have no idea where you're going with it, but I like it.
But
and maybe I need to get you in touch with Cody. I'm kidding. I don't know Cody. I can't get in touch with him. But what I mean is, it's pretty cool where you're going with it. But I want you, don't speculate too much, because I need to move off of this, because it is John Carpenter Appreciation Week this week on thescenesnobs.com. Every show is going to be incorporated some way with John Carpenter. So I'm going to do some explaining to you about a very special movie in my life that has connections to wrestling. Okay? In more ways than one. And that is, we're going to talk about this man right here. Roddy Piper. The Hot Rod himself. Roddy Piper was one of the best wrestlers, the best mic men in the business. He was great. Now, you've seen him before. I've shown you things with him before. He was just truly fantastic. And he played such a great heel, but he could also play the hero. Well, his connection to John Carpenter was through a 1988 movie called They Live, which is one of the best movies I have ever seen, and I love it. I love that movie. So basically what it's about is Roddy Piper plays a homeless man who stumbles upon the fact that aliens are living among us, and that if he wears a special pair of sunglasses, he can see them, and he can also see the signs that go around that tell that are controlling people's minds, right? So he takes it upon himself with a small band of other freedom fighters to fight these aliens that are controlling humanity. And it is John Carpenter at his finest. It is Roddy Piper pulling off a great role, right? May he rest in peace. And I just kind of wanted to, whoever hasn't seen this movie, like you haven't seen They Live, it is truly a great movie. So
can I please see They Live before the John Carpenter Appreciation Week is over, so that I can be on, maybe they can do maybe we could do a They Live movie review for John Carpenter Appreciation.
We shall see. Maybe right now we're doing They Live for the 20-minute wrestling podcast, because it has a connection with wrestling. Now, what I want to do next is I want to go over some trivia for the movie, so bear with me. This is for anybody listening out there or watching, that these are trivia from They Live. I'm going to try not to spoil it if you haven't seen it, but just to kind of give everybody who has seen it and loves this movie the way it should be, it's accolades.
Can I try and guess some of the questions?
No. This is just going to be trivia. So the movie stars Roddy Piper, Keith David, and Meg Foster. Roddy Piper is the character of Nada, and the reason that is, first trivia, is his name is never mentioned in the movie, which I always thought was pretty cool. So they just have him credited as Nada at the end. The bubblegum line, the famous bubblegum line, which is, "I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass, and I'm all out of bubblegum." That was a line that Roddy Piper had written down in a book, like a little notebook like this, that of things he could say while he's wrestling. You know, because he was a promo guy, so he was really good at it. And John Carpenter read that, and they both agreed that that's the best line for the movie, and it was. It's an iconic line. Now, the street fight between Keith David and Roddy Piper, that was supposed to be a 20-second street fight, but they both agreed that they needed this epic street fight, which it is. It's an epic street fight. It is a realistic street fight, and that's because they may have held their punches, but they were kind of punching each other throughout the whole thing. The only thing was groin and face shots they didn't do. Those were phantom. So the end result was 3 weeks of rehearsing this match in John Carpenter's backyard of his production office, and finally led to a over 5-minute fight match in a movie, and that's really unheard of. So we got Carpenter was a big wrestling fan, and he still is, but back in the day he watched WrestleMania 3, which was the hair and hair match versus Piper versus Adonis. Thankfully, Piper won that one, so he didn't have to cut his hair. So, and then he could go on to star in this movie because that's what got him cast. Now, Carpenter was a fan, but it was really WrestleMania 3 match that where he was like, I need this guy with all his charisma. So the part of Frank was written specifically for Keith David because John Carpenter loved his work on The Thing. So...
The Thing came out before WrestleMania 3?
Oh, yeah. 1982 it came out. So Kurt Russell was originally thought for planned to have him play the part of Nada, but Carpenter thought he's worked with him a little too much, wanted to kind of span out, and he wanted somebody a little bit bigger and a little bit more street savvy. So then he wound up going with Roddy Piper. Okay, so the famous obey sign. Here's the connection to wrestling. This is why it's connected more to wrestling than anywhere else. So one of the signs in it is that's manipulating people in subliminal ways is an obey sign. The aliens telling people to obey them. And now that obey sign has been taken, and it was taken by a graffiti artist and turned it into and put with a graffiti background of Andre the Giant's face, and it was called Obey. And that was the giant Obey poster. That was a huge thing. It still is. People still have it. People got it tattooed, the whole nine. It was a huge picture, piece of artwork that was made. So now it was taken from a movie starring a wrestler and put on another wrestler's face. So there's your multiple connections to They Live with wrestlers. So then we have, where is it? Oh, so we have that. Oh, so my last bit of trivia was, and I kind of wanted to, because near and dear to my heart, I love Roddy Piper. He was a great performer in the ring. He came out and he had said, nobody was really acting in movies beforehand. Yes, we had Hulk Hogan and Rocky, but like nobody was starring in movies. He was really the first one to step into a role and star in a movie, a wrestler-wise, right? And that really was unheard of. You weren't going to get a star wrestler in a movie. And he was not only in this movie as the star, he came out, he was a #1 movie. And at that time, that was completely unheard of. No wrestler was going to go in and be the star of a movie that reached #1. And he called it, and he said he opened the door for a lot of other wrestlers. Once they saw his success, they wanted to do it. We saw it with Hulk Hogan. We saw it with everybody. We saw it with tons of people. So I think that he deserves the accolades of, yes, he was the first to star, and for a long time he was the only one to reach #1, only wrestler to star in a movie and reach #1 at the box office, but he opened the door for the likes of like John Cena, who has still not reached #1 in a movie that he has solely starred in. But he will. Yeah.
Maybe Playing with Fire might be different.
No, Playing Fire is definitely not making #1. But it just shows to show that he is a huge star, and he will make it one day to a #1 spot. But the person he did open a door for is a great actor, somebody who's terrific and we love, and that is The Rock. That's
James.
Right. Who has had #1 movies, and it's just so. Thank you, Roddy Piper, for being in They Live, such a great and influential movie in society. And that's it. That's our first show where we appreciate John Carpenter this week. And I hope you liked it. There's so much more to come, especially with our new podcast, Behind the Box, coming out. So make sure you check it out. Make sure you're going to scenesnobs.com. Until next time, I am Mick Manhattan. This is my special guest host today, Tommy. That's right.
And again, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe.
I love it. Also,
to every channel that the Scene Snobs has.
Yes, you can go find all the links on thescenesnobs.com. Thank you, sir. You can also follow me on social media at The Scene Snob. Okay, until next time, everybody. Take care. Tommy, you want to say bye?
Bye.
All right. I love it. Good job, pal.